good afternoon. I am out for a walk while on holiday, and of course, at the moment, you can probably tell by my top, it is football season, it is World Cup season, and I thought we'd do a little bit of a Harry versus ChatGPT. It's been a little while since I've done one of these, and we're going to talk the World Cup and fragrances today. And I thought what we could do is we could ask ChatGPT. I'm going to pick 10 footballers, and I'm going to give you the fragrance that I would assign to that footballer, and they're going to do the same. And I want you to pick then, based on the one they pick and the one I pick, which one you think is more suitable to those footballers. So we're going to kind of pick famous ones, obviously some that are very well known, and then some who are the up and coming stars of football, which I'm sure many of you will know as well. Certainly if you watch the Premier League and the Liga and the Champions League and all of those games at club level. So we won't waste any more time. Let's get on with the first one. Okay, so the first player is probably one of the most well-known footballers of all time, certainly one of the most marketable, and that, of course, is Cristiano Ronaldo. I have to say, I'm not the biggest Cristiano Ronaldo fan. If we're talking Messi and Ronaldo, I'm definitely on Team Messi, but when it comes to being more marketable, you can't beat Ronaldo. That CR7 line is iconic, and of course, there is a CR7 fragrance, and I'm going to say Cristiano Ronaldo, he has a high opinion of himself, let's say, and that isn't a bad thing. So I'm going to say he wears his own fragrance. Yes, CR7 Eau de Soleil. It comes in a sort of red bottle. There's others though in sort of blue and black bottles as well, so he's got a few kind of flankers. But actually the note breakdown, to be fair to him, is quite interesting. I thought this was going to be a really boring aquatic, but looking at it, I don't think it's the highest quality or anything, but it's got sort of spiciness to it. So it's got a bit of a cinnamon note, it's got tobacco, it's got vanilla, musk, iris, and also this sparkling bergamot in the top as well. So it does have that element of freshness, but a bit of a sort of sweeter dry down that I quite like the sound of as well. It sounds useful, sounds a bit playful, and I think even though Ronaldo is now pushing into his 40s, I think he still very much thinks he's much younger. And to be honest with you, if I'm at his shape in 40 years, or in 10 years' time, when I'm in my 40s, I'd be very happy. But I do think his high opinion of himself, even though this is a cheap fragrance, I think he's going to think this is punching above its weight, and he's going to be wearing the one that has his name on it. Let's ask ChatGPT what they've gone for. They have gone for Dior Sauvage Elixir. Now, I've got a clone of this one, and I don't know if Ronaldo would wear this in my opinion, but I do quite like their reasoning. They've basically said it's a statement, it's built for greatness. Of course, Ronaldo, one of the greatest footballers of all time, and it does have that confidence, it does enter the room almost before you do. And of course, Ronaldo has that aura about him, he definitely has that superstar aura. And this fragrance is all about a statement. Again, what I quite like with what they've gone for a bit of a spicy edge as well. But neither of us are particularly, well, I suppose mine is a little bit sporty, but neither of us have gone for like a blue fragrance. They've gone for one that's a little bit more expensive, a bit more statement, something that's probably more in line with what Ronaldo would like in terms of a price range. So yeah, let me know which one you think. I like the idea of that. I like the craftiness. Personally, I think Dior Sauvage Parfum would have been better. Something that's not quite as aggressively spicy, which this one really is. Yeah, interesting. I'm certainly not Ronaldo playing. If he was wearing that on a football pitch, I think that would off-put the opponent a little bit. I certainly would find that off-putting if I was marking him. So yeah, let me know who you think's won the first round. It's me. So of course, not everyone's as old as Cristiano Ronaldo. There is an upcoming generation that hopefully is looking to overtake him. And one of the stars, I believe, for the last Euros it would have been, was of course Lamine Yamal. I always struggle to say his name. It's a bit of a tongue twist, that one. Of course, plays for Barcelona, one of Spain's biggest hopes for the future, and of course I see many children when I've been working in primary schools with a Lamine Yamal kit. And I'm going to go for a fragrance that came out in 2021, so he's nowhere near 20 years old yet. I don't think he is anyway, which makes me feel old. Burberry Hero Cologne. Yes, this came out in 2021, as I was saying. Burberry's obviously a recognisable brand. I know a former Chelsea player, Billy Gilmore, used to do a bit of modelling for Burberry, and of course it's not just the fragrances, they're more known probably for their clothing, particularly that pattern they have. And of course Burberry London's a very popular one, but Burberry Hero's more about the woods. It's got bergamot in again, it's got cedar. There's nothing really about this that has a wow factor, and a lot of people on fragrance can say that as well. But I think he's probably at an age where he's not that bothered about his fragrance. He's probably more worried about his football and obviously making a name for himself, selling shirts, and also, you know, the fancy hairstyles, probably goal celebrations as well. And probably over time, maybe he'll have his own fragrance line, but at the moment, it's probably not a priority for him. He's probably trying to build a successful football career. So it's not a real statement scent, this one, but it's a recognisable brand. And I think that suits an up and coming star. And the word hero, you never know, maybe he'll be Spain's hero during this World Cup. Looks like ChatGPT are prepared to spend a bit more money, or they obviously think footballers will spend more money on their fragrances than I have so far, because they've gone for Lamine Yamal Louis Vuitton Imagination. Now, I quite like this, and the reason I say that is sometimes when there's finals of competitions, a lot of players turn up at the ground in suits. And I know Louis Vuitton is certainly one that they might have done that in the past. I know Chelsea have definitely worn Dolce & Gabbana suits. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see, if Spain gets to the final, Lamine Yamal in a Louis Vuitton top. But he'll know that brand anyway. Again, a very recognisable brand. And Imagination, what they've kind of said, ChatGPT, is it's that youthful elegance rather than that old school masculine type vibe. So they're going down the same route as I am. They're not thinking of anything too grown up. They're thinking of a bit more youthful, a bit more of those modern type fragrances that adds a fresh edge. So yeah, it's a bit of close to this one. I must admit, I think ChatGPT may have won this round. But of course, let me know what you think in the comments below. We're going to go on to the third footballer now. So England's greatest hope in the World Cup is probably Harry Kane. Yes, Harry Kane, in my opinion, one of the greatest strikers in England history, maybe the greatest, and certainly one of the greatest strikers in the world now. But if I think of Harry Kane, I think of him as a bit of a throwback. Look, he's not this flashy player that's got, a big trademark celebration. He's not overly stylish, if we're being honest. He's just a really, really good natural footballer, amazing passing ability. But I don't think he's too worried about style and having the flashy cars and all that comes with being a famous footballer. So I think he's going to have a bit of a throwback fragrance here. I think he's going to have something a bit more old school. And the first one that came to my mind here, and it's probably a bit boring again because I'm not spending a huge amount of money, but Cool Water. I don't see Harry Kane as someone who'll have something that's a real statement in terms of a night out fragrance. I think he'll have something that smells quite sporty, and Cool Water is, in my opinion, still quite a sporty scent. It's one that I like to throw in my gym bag. Obviously, there's more modern releases, Cool Water Wave, Cool Water Intense, which has a nice coconut feel. But I think Harry Kane's going to still like the throwback type scent, especially now he's getting a little bit older. I think he'll remember those old scents, bit of a scent memory of maybe when he started his career as a teenager, going on loan at Norwich and Millwall while he was at Tottenham. And yeah, it'll just give him those throwback memories of how far he's come when he steered England to the World Cup success. So I'm going Cool Water, fresh, clean, not particularly flashy, but it gives a throwback feel and it's still very good. Oh, interesting one. Again, ChatGPT have gone expensive, but they've chosen very well in my opinion. It's funny, they've said he's kind of more this controlled character rather than being this flashy type of person. And they've gone for a fragrance that I think isn't so flashy. It's flashy in the sense it's very classy, but certainly in the Tom Ford line, this isn't one that's got a silly name or anything like that stands out so much. It's just elegant at its absolute finest, and it has a modern edge to it. Tom Ford Oud Wood, I like that, that sparkling sandalwood this has. And if you've ever considered getting this one but you've been put off by the word oud in this, in my opinion, don't be, because the oud in this isn't really that prominent. Even if it's in here, it's not like a skanky oud. It feels, for me, if you're someone who's really into fragrances but you don't want anything too animalic, this is a really good starting point if you just want to go into oud for the first time. Really like this one. The sandalwood is certainly the most prominent thing in here, and that's really good. I think that's a really good one to start Harry Kane. If they'd gone for Tom Ford, expletive, fabulous, that wouldn't have been him at all. That would have been more suited to someone like Ronaldo. So yeah, I think they've won this round. But what do you think? I need to go for some more pricey ones. For the next footballer, let's go up in price range. My word, it stinks here. There's a tractor over there. Don't know if you can see in the distance, spraying manure all over the field. Wow. Now I wish I had a fragrance. Let's get on to the fourth footballer. And I wish this fragrance I'm going to pick was the fragrance I had for this occasion, because it's certainly strong. And I said the price range would increase. And my favourites of the World Cup here are France. France at the moment seem to be playing the best football. I'm hoping to get this video uploaded before the final. And hopefully, well, we'll see if I'm right. I've actually predicted Portugal, but the French have impressed most. And of course, one of the most iconic French footballers, probably not the best one at the minute. I think Ousmane Dembele is the star of the French national team. And at club level at PSG, he's unbelievable. But of course, it's Mbappe. Mbappe, yeah, honestly, when I've been at holiday clubs with kids, they all have Mbappe shirts. So if it's not Haaland, Mbappe, Ronaldo, Messi, they're the top four. Maybe Lamine Yamal, number 5. Yeah, I think I'm going to go for a French fragrance here, a French perfumer, and it's going to be Baccarat Rouge 540 we're going for. Now look, this one actually isn't as old as I thought. It actually came out in 2015. It feels like it's been around a long time, this one. Of course, it's a unisex scent. I think a lot of younger people prefer more unisex fragrances now. But Mbappe, basically here, I'm saying he's doing his own thing. It's loud, He wants to be the, you know, the next big star of French football, of world football, and this one is certainly aggressive. It's in your face, and while it's not, in my opinion, overly cloying, wow, it leaves a trail. And he is, in my opinion, one of the quickest footballers in the world. So while he's running, everyone's going to be literally left in his path of Baccarat Rouge as he steers France maybe to World Cup glory. I just like this one. Again, I like the floral components. There's a bit of saffron in this. Well, I say a little bit. It's quite strong. Amber's one of the main accords they have in this as well. Jasmine. Yeah, I just think it's still got that modern, timeless elegance about it. And I think it suits Mbappe again. He's not really a throwback footballer in my opinion. He is that modern, classy type of footballer. And I think this will bring a lot of energy. He certainly will leave a trail, and he's going to leave a lot of defenders and trailing his weight just from his speed. So I'm going to say Baccarat Rouge 540, a more expensive one for a very expensive footballer, even at the young age he is. Honestly, that manure has brought out so many flies. It is horrible around here. How am I meant to win this competition against ChatGPT with flies around my head? But who did they go for? Or what did they go for? What fragrance for Kylian Mbappe? They went Bleu de Chanel parfum. I think that's a very safe option. Don't get me wrong. It's probably the right answer because it is that, in my opinion, it's the more grown-up version of Dior Sauvage. And if you're a top-level footballer, you're probably going to go for that little bit of a step up. And while he is still very young, Mbappe, which I just said in my case for him, or the fragrance for him, he's not the young star anymore. Obviously, we said earlier, Lamine Yamal, and there's other players coming through. This one is elegant, classy, still very youthful, and one you can use in many situations. And I think that suits Mbappe. Again, performance of Bleu de Chanel is really nice. I like that bit of extra depth it's got. I believe it's got a bit of incense in that one, which makes it feel a bit more grown up. And I think Mbappe now, he's kind of reaching that prime. You know, this is his moment. He's already scored many goals in World Cups. Maybe this is his moment to actually lift the trophy because he came so close 4 years ago. And I think if you're talking about a classy, elegant, timeless fragrance, like I said with Baccarat Rouge, maybe this slightly more fresher, slightly more masculine scent does fit Kylian Mbappe more. It's an athletic type of fragrance, but it does have that classy edge which you could wear with a suit and tie as well. Good choice, ChatGPT. We've got one more footballer to go. Okay, and the final one then, the final footballer we're going to pick. It would have been absolutely crazy of me if I didn't pick a player from this country, considering Brazil are the most successful team in World Cup history. Yes, they won 5 World Cups. They're the only team to have done that. I believe only 8 teams have ever won the World Cup. So for them to have won 5 in the 96 years of Football World Cup that started in 1930, I think it's pretty impressive. And the player we're going for is probably the most iconic Brazilian player in the modern era anyway. They certainly have had more iconic players in the past. But it's Vinicius Junior. Yes, Vinicius Junior. When I think of him, obviously plays for Real Madrid, a big club. He's quite eccentric. He's one of those who's quite happy to be the centre of attention. He's got so much flair, burst of energy, burst of pace. And I just think of Brazilians of playing football on the beach. That's where a lot of them became so good. You know, futsal is so big in Brazil. And he's just got that flair, that arrogance. I don't think he's going to be too worried about stepping up, taking a penalty in the last minute to win the game. In fact, he'll want to do that. So I wanted a kind of positive, uplifting, inviting fragrance to define him. And we're going to go, one I found, it was actually called Figo. Now, Figo was obviously a very well-known Portuguese footballer in the day. But I just thought that football kind of theme with it just was perfect for this round. Now, of course, it's not linked to the footballer himself. It's actually linked to the note of fig. And fig is actually a really nice note in perfumery. I had an Acqua di Parma, I've still got an Acqua di Parma Fico di Amalfi, which is, in my opinion, one of the best fruity fragrances out there. It's so, yeah, it's not overly strong to be honest, but it's still very refreshing, approachable, inviting, and quite youthful at the same time. And that's what I think I'm getting from this. If you look at the notes in Figo, orange is the top note. You've got a bit of cardamom in there, a bit of amber, and of course this fig leaf. And I just think that fruity, outgoing type of personality is perfect for him. So that's what I'm going for. It's not too strong, not too heavy, but I think it suits that kind of eccentric type of character, which Vinicius Junior, from my impressions, really is. So ChatGPT, they certainly do think footballers earn a lot of money, which they do, and they've picked a very good fragrance here. Actually, a clone of this one I've tried from the Essence Vault, Parfums de Marly Layton. Now the main attraction to me with this fragrance is the apple note. Again, it's not a really sweet like apple pie type note. No, it's more like that fresh crisp apple, but there's a lot going on in this. You've got violet leaf, which normally in fragrances gives a bit of an ozonic vibe. Don't really get that from this, but it's got a lot of floral components. It's got jasmine in this. You've then got some spice in here as well. It's really good. I really like this, and it sort of dries down into this vanilla base. If you like that sort of apple vanilla combination, you've got to try this. It's really nice. It's got a lot of depth about it, and it's probably one of the most iconic from Parthens to Mari. They have one, I believe, called Percival, Pegasus, and it's a line I do need to try more of. The bottles are really high quality, and the lids or the caps on them are super heavy as well. It screams confidence, elegance, and that's perfect for Vinicius in my opinion. That being said, I don't think this gives enough of a fruity punch. Obviously, apple is a fruit, but apple isn't that really sweet, juicy, fruity vibe that I think Brazilian footballers would have. I think of it being a bit more, yeah, a bit sweeter, like a fig in my opinion. A bit more tropical would have suited Vinicius's personality a bit more in my opinion. So yeah, let me know what you think. Who has won the competition today? We picked 5 each. I've been a bit distracted in the last 2 rounds because I've been attacked by the manure and flies. But yeah, let me know what you would go for as well. Not just who you think's won, but what phrases you go for, which ones you'd associate with some of those footballers as well. I'd be really interested actually what footballers do wear as well, because I'm sure many of them do, because yeah, personality, image, and potentially their smell is quite important to a lot of footballers, and of course a lot of money can be made if they celebrities associate themselves with some very iconic fragrances like Dior Sauvage. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this one today, and I'm going to get back before that smell honestly just completely takes me out. I'm going to put on a fragrance. I've not got any of the ones I've mentioned today at the moment. It's going to be Lush Zesty. That's still pretty good in my opinion. Can't quite afford what footballers can. Thanks for watching. Catch you later.